Hello, I'm Stephen Chun with Money and Tech, and we're here at Coin Congress, joined by New Hampshire candidate for governor, Andrew Hemingway. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, happy to be here.
Absolutely. Now, tell us a little about your journey to San Francisco, how you're enjoying it.
Sure, well, it's been fantastic so far. I mean, we had a little trouble with the flights coming in, got snagged up in Minneapolis, but so far it's been great. Good conference and meeting some really great people.
Kind of elaborate, how has Coin Congress been going for you personally?
I think it's been fantastic. You know, one of the reasons why I'm here is to meet more people who are in the community, but to also look for some guidance from experts, you know, so meeting with several venture capitalists, meeting with other, entrepreneurs and experts in the area helps me as a candidate start to put together some ideas for policy and how to best build the regulatory environment in the state of New Hampshire to encourage this community and not to try and destroy it.
So that was kind of my question. The Bitcoin community is a international and global space, but why from New Hampshire all the way to California?
Well, I mean, I think that it's an issue that is, kind of part of something that I'm very passionate about, and it's also something that I see as a potential growth opportunity for the state of New Hampshire. I think that New Hampshire, with the right regulatory environment, could be a state that leads, on this. When we see states like New York going in the opposite direction, and other states, I'm sure, are going to start to follow New York's lead, I think New Hampshire could be a leader in that. And with the right governor and the right leadership and the right ideas and the right regulatory structure, I think we could continue to encourage this greenhouse effect which is happening around Bitcoin and around the blockchain and all of this new technology.
Now, how's it feel to be one of the first political figures to kind of spearhead this for your community?
I mean, I think it's, I've done a lot of firsts, I guess. I'm the first millennial to run for governor anywhere in the country. We did the first all-Twitter presidential debate back in 2011. And so it's just a natural progression. It's something that I'm passionate about and don't necessarily think about it from the perspective of being first or whatever. But I guess it's fitting because New Hampshire is the first in the nation state. So
I see. Okay, a lot of firsts, like you said. So we know why you're a supporter of Bitcoin, but kind of, or I should say what you stand for with Bitcoin, but why are you such an avid supporter? Why specifically Bitcoin? And I know your campaign is already about growing jobs, improving education system, but why throw a digital currency space into your campaign?
Well, I mean, we're talking about all sorts of different technologies. We're talking about solar roadways, for instance. Looking at the big picture and trying to bring a broad perspective. I find that so many campaigns just get bogged down in the minutia. Let's raise the gas tax 4 cents or something, right? Where are we going? In a broad overview. What's our underlying philosophy and what does that picture look like? And I think that the governor, as the chief executive, needs to provide a broad vision and look to the future. And I think clearly Bitcoin, blockchain, all of these technologies, not just these, we're talking about a whole bunch of them, are also something that I think the state of New Hampshire needs to start looking at and looking for opportunities to grow jobs and to build our economy and things which we could also bring into our governance. I mean, talking about assigning license plates, talking about ending voter fraud, different ideas like this, where this technology may streamline our government, may cut down the cost and improve relations. And so I think that there's lots of opportunities that would be foolish to just dismiss out of hand.
You say that Bitcoin can be used for political voting. So it's election day. Do we walk up to the voting poll and instead of checkbox marking, specifically tell us how can it be used in the platform of political voting?
Sure. I think that there's still obviously a lot of development that needs to happen. And really we're talking about that blockchain technology, verifying an individual, right? And that's the biggest part about voter fraud today is that you have individuals voting in multiple places. The technology we use today is simply you walk up and you sign an affidavit that says this is who I am. Well, then you see people voting in 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 places. Well, if we were using the blockchain technology, that would be impossible to do. Right? So we ended voter fraud. Now you can only vote one time in one place. So there's a number of examples like that could be applied.
So in a similar parallel, how can taxes be paid with Bitcoin, in your opinion?
The easy, simple answer to this is use one of the payment processors, entrepreneurs like we've been meeting today, who accept Bitcoin and immediately transact it to dollars. The state of New Hampshire can now say, hey, we accept Bitcoin, right? Accept Bitcoin, it transacts it immediately into dollars, and there's no different system set up, there's no different technology from the state of New Hampshire's perspective. But I think that would be great because the state of New Hampshire would now say, hey, we have a community in the state who likes to pay or likes to use Bitcoin. Why would we say no? We're not going to let you pay with a currency that you want to, especially when we're transacting it immediately into dollars. So it doesn't dismiss or doesn't disrupt our internal flow from the state side, and I think it makes it easier from the customer side. It goes back to sort of an underlying philosophy that the state of New Hampshire needs to be more like a customer service organization than a big monolithic centralized government, right? And I think that's a change in philosophy that a governor can bring to the table.
So let's kind of look forward. You have your roadmap ahead of you of how you're going to run your campaign and incorporate Bitcoin. What challenges do you foresee, and how are you going to address them?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think part of the challenge is this: I have to come to San Francisco to meet people in the community, right? But that's a big expense, and time is my most precious resource in the campaign. So we're 50 days out from the primary election, and I'm flying to San Francisco. So it's a very calculated risk, something which we need to work on and look at. But that's some of the challenge. The other part of the challenge is what your opponents use against you. They're going to try and this is something negative or in some way, and we're framing it in the way of this is an emerging technology which we should look at.
So let me ask you then: are your opponents using this in a negative light?
Sure. I mean, my response is always ignorance always lashes out with fear, right? And so it's a fear-based reaction. That is not based in any sort of knowledge of the technology or the applications of it.
Now, every campaign has donations and avenues of support. Do you accept donations via Bitcoin?
Yes, absolutely. Right on my website, andrewhemingway.com, there's a donate button right there. You can donate in Bitcoin right on the website.
Do you think that Bitcoin can have a positive or negative impact for both New Hampshire and also for the U.S. as a whole in regards to politics?
I think it's only positive. I don't see any negative impact. I mean, I think it's a new technology, and we see tremendous opportunities with it. Not just as a currency, but also as a governance and things like that, like we've discussed. So I see only upside. I see only opportunity. The challenge is going to be stopping the traditional model of government regulating and taxing and trying to get in the way of innovation. I mean, government always is trying to stop innovation, it seems like, at every turn. And so the challenge is to fend off that. And one of the ways that we can do that is by having an elected official who's knowledgeable on the issue, who can be a leader and can help to guide and to build some of that good regulation that would protect this greenhouse which we have in place right now, as opposed to what we're seeing in New York, which is ignorance. It's someone who doesn't understand what's really happening here.
Well, any final words for Coin Congress, San Francisco, and New Hampshire?
This has been a fantastic time. I mean, I'm enthused by being here at Coin Congress. There's a very energetic crowd. It's people are really engaged in this. I'm excited by that. I'm glad to see this community really starting to take off. Again, I am accepting donations in Bitcoin on my website. We're trying to raise Bitcoin, and we're trying to make a statement. We're trying to use my campaign as a statement to say, look, this is a very real community who's seeking to be represented. And we have in New York a very real example of what can happen if we don't start to rally and start to have a voice against that. I'd like to be that voice. I'd like to represent that. And so you can go to my website, andrewhemingway.com, for more information, and you can donate right there as well.
Well, thank you for coming all the way across the country to visit us. Best of luck in your campaign. Thank you very much. We were joined by Andrew Hemingway, governor candidate for New Hampshire. Thank you for watching Money and Tech. This is Stephen Chun here at San Francisco Coin Congress.